Have you ever thought about what happens when these billion-dollar companies go bankrupt? Or how do they even reach the point of bankruptcy? Many companies, including Yahoo, have gone through bankruptcy and their billion-dollar empire just fell into pieces. 14. REFCO. At the time of bankruptcy, REFCO had total assets of $33.33 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on October 17, 2005. REFCO was a US-based financial services company that had its headquarters in New York. The fascinating thing about this company is that it did not declare bankruptcy in the 2008 crisis like all other financial institutions, but earlier than that because its CEO was hiding $430 million worth of money in bad debts. 13. America's Savings and Loan. At the time of bankruptcy, America's Savings and Loans had total assets of $33.86 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on September 9, 1988. America's Savings Loans Department was the costliest liability of the government. Their deterioration began in the 1980s and 1990s. 12. Texaco. At the time of bankruptcy, Texaco had total assets of $34.90 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on December 4, 1987. Texaco was the biggest bankruptcy case in the United States of America for a long time. It used to be a subsidiary of Chevron and now it ceases to exist. 11. Pacific Gas and Electric Company. At the time of bankruptcy, Pacific Gas and Electric Company had total assets of $36.10 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on June 4, 2001. Pacific Gas and Electric Company is not a sole proprietorship. It's owned by investors of various utility companies. The sole reason why this company failed to progress and had to file for bankruptcy is that they were selling products at a low cost while their production costs reached greater heights. It all resulted in massive losses. 10. Thornburg Mortgage. At the time of bankruptcy, Thornburg Mortgage had total assets of $36.50 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on June 5, 2009. In 2009, the real estate market took a very big hit. The financial crisis caused many great companies to file bankruptcy, and Thornburg Mortgage was one of them. It made a loss of $1.5 billion in 2007, which forced them to go for bankruptcy. 9. CHRYSLER. At the time of bankruptcy, CHRYSLER had total assets of $39.30 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on April 30, 2009. CHRYSLER used to be one of the most famous car brands in the world. It's nearly 100 years old. CHRYSLER was founded in 1920. It was acquired by Stellaris. However, now that in 2008, the financial crisis hit, sadly, CHRYSLER had to file for bankruptcy. The automobile industry in general was very badly affected by the crisis. 8. Enron Corp. At the time of bankruptcy, Enron had a total asset of $65.50 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on December 2, 2001. Enron is probably the only company on this list that everyone knows of. Every finance, economic, and accounting student is familiar with their case. Their scandal caused the demise of the two companies, Enron itself and Arthur Andersen, its audit firm. Enron deceived everyone with its fake numbers and accounting records. When the records were publicized, the government and people took notice of the scam that had been done by them. Enron could not pull off the scandal, they failed. 7. CIT Group. At the time of bankruptcy, CIT Group had total assets of $71 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on January 11, 2009. CIT Group filed for bankruptcy in 2009. There is a Chapter 11 in the Law Book of America that orders them to get reorganized until they can solve their problems. However, they failed to do so. The company was built from scratch again and had 7 new investors and owners. 6. Yahoo. Now it's time for Yahoo. Yahoo was officially launched at a perfect time where it showed pure dominance. However, it remained static and didn't feel the need to keep on developing. Just like Nokia, Yahoo had its downfall. Yahoo missed to buy Google for just $1 billion, and then when it was again put up for sale for $3 billion, Yahoo thought, why should they buy it? They thought they were the only kings in this game. However, it proved wrong. Like Instagram, Flickr was a photo sharing app that Yahoo had acquired. However, Yahoo had no idea how to make proper use of it, so they mismanaged the deal. Now they have missed the boat. Just like Google, Yahoo failed to purchase Facebook. Facebook was asking for $1.1 billion, while Yahoo offered only $1 billion. Now, Facebook is on its way to touch the $1 trillion mark, while Yahoo is bankrupt and no one even uses it anymore. Yahoo has never had any good developers, which are why when they merged with Microsoft, it was a huge failure for them. Another example is that Yahoo failed to use Tumblr properly. 5. General Motors. At the time of bankruptcy, General Motors had total assets of $82.33 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on June 1, 2009. In 2009, General Motors faced some really tough times. It needed a relief fund from the government. The government gave it a relief fund of $40 billion. The company had to be reorganized completely. 4. Pacific Electric and Gas. At the time of bankruptcy, Pacific Electric and Gas had total assets of $90 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on October 1, 2019. This is the only company that has been able to make this list twice. This time, the government punished them by forcing them to pay for the victims of burning fires in California. Isn't it not funny how a single company got bankrupt twice? And the more shocking news is that it's still working now. Talk about determination. 3. WorldCom. At the time of bankruptcy, WorldCom had total assets of $103.9 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on July 21, 2002. In its prime days, WorldCom was the second biggest company in the telecom sector. AT&T was and still is the first. In 2002, WorldCom got into an accounting scandal where they fixed their books to show a profit to get investments. To hide the losses, they tried to fix their books and act like nothing ever happened. However, the truth always finds its way out. They had to file for bankruptcy a few months later. 8. Washington Mutual. At the time of bankruptcy, Washington Mutual had total assets of $327.9 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on September 26, 2008. You might have noticed that there are a lot of different types of banks on this list. The main cause of all of them is the financial crisis that came in 2008. Its downfall came due to a subprime mortgage crisis, which led to a major termination of employees. The stock also fell, and customers lost confidence in the bank. So much confidence was lost that customers withdrew almost $17 billion from their accounts. Finally, all the assets were bought by JP Morgan, which is now the biggest bank in all of America. 1. Lehman Brothers. At the time of bankruptcy, Lehman Brothers had total assets of $691.1 billion. They declared themselves bankrupt on September 15, 2008. It had twice the assets of Washington Mutual. Lehman Brothers are on the top of the list of companies that went bankrupt. The financial crisis in 2008 was a real thing, and this was the fourth largest investment bank. In 2008, it took its toll and had to file for bankruptcy. It's easily the most high-profile case of the 2008 casualties. It was presented for more than 150 years before it finally had to file bankruptcy. 25,000 people had to be terminated and couldn't be given any compensation. The enormity of the situation was felt all over the world. The reason behind Lehman Brothers' bankruptcy was their involvement in the mortgage. All their assets were downgraded, which immediately put the company under debt. They lost confidence, they lost stock, they lost investment, and they all lost money. It was all over for them. There was nothing they could do. It has been 13 years now and is still regarded as one of the biggest bankruptcies around the world. Barclays later bought its stock at a lower price. All these big companies had a big fall. You know what they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Companies worth more than billions fell to the ground and got burned just because they couldn't cope with changes. Some failed due to lack of management, while others just didn't care what was happening around them. A few companies tried to scam their way out of this but never succeeded. What do you think? If you were the leader of any one company, how would you deal with it? Also, share any company that we might have missed. We'll make sure to include that in the other videos that we make. So, what do you guys think? Was the video up to your standards? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and click on the bell icon to get notified for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.